We're less than a week away from the start of the 2021-22 English Premier League campaign, which promises to be quite an upgrade over the last one for many reasons. For instance, for the first time in more than a year, fans will be able to see all the action from the stands. Let's pray that the pandemic is about to come to a screeching halt and we get to say business as usual for everything that we hold dear. Apart from that, we're definitely going to witness a great title assault, which might not be as one-sided as it was last season. Manchester City simply romped to yet another league title last season, but with the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea and Liverpool, they'll have stiff competition when it comes to championship credentials. After winning the Champions League last season, Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea are favourites to win the league title, even though Manchester City look like behemoths once again. Pep Guardiola's side might be the strongest in England right now, but we can't ignore the credentials of the Blues or even Manchester United, who have addressed key areas in the summer transfer window. Liverpool's defence is going to be as fearsome as it always has been now that Virgil van Dijk is back, so Jurgen Klopp will also be relentless in pursuing another league title. But today, we're going to talk about one player who's returned to his former club and could be the final piece of the jigsaw as his side looks to win the league title. Romelu Lukaku left Chelsea as a boy, spent a few seasons on loan at West Brom and then made a permanent switch to Everton. Since then, he's honed his talents to become one of the most lethal strikers in Europe. Now, the Belgian giant returns to Stamford Bridge as a man, perhaps a man on a mission, out to prove that he has what it takes to become a top-notch striker in the Premier League. Today, we're scouting Romelu Lukaku and finding out whether he's going to be able to replicate the same form that made him such a goal-getter at Inter Milan. Chelsea have forked out some serious money to have him back at the club, and the pressure will be on the striker to come good. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to stay in touch with the content that we produce on a daily basis. Main attributes. Romelu Lukaku is a really great striker whose best strengths lie in finishing, aerial duels and headed attempts. The 28-year-old is a pure left-footed striker who loves to cut inside and mostly uses the inside of his left foot to bury the ball behind the goalkeeper. He's also a dangerous presence when it comes to set pieces. Due to his physical presence and ability to win headers, Lukaku is a great presence in the box in those scenarios. His style of play is also a perfect fit for the Premier League. The former Everton man likes to do layoffs, he's a great threat during counter-attacks, he loves to do flick-ons, and he uses his physical strength to hold on to the ball. Makes you wonder why he was unable to get much success during his time at Man United. Perhaps his biggest weakness during his time at Old Trafford was his poor first touch. Record from Serie A. In the last two seasons, Lukaku has become one of the best finishers in the game, scoring 23 goals in both campaigns, also improving a lot on his presence in the final third. Before we start talking about Lukaku's qualities, we'll need to address some concerns about his defensive contribution. Although the Belgian is a really good header of the ball when his team is attacking, his aerial ability is of no use for his side when defending. If you look at these videos now, you'll come to realise that Lukaku rarely participates in defensive situations and can be quite a liability during defensive set pieces. These videos clearly show that Lukaku is more of a half-hearted presence when defending, and that could prove to be calamitous for Tuchel's side, where every player is expected to help the team out in dire circumstances. Poor first touch. In Italy, Lukaku rarely had to look over his shoulder all the time, since Serie A defenders normally allow you a few yards. That's not the case in England, where the level of physicality is very high, and defenders are built like wardrobes. While Lukaku is a physically imposing person, the Belgian did find it hard to compete with defenders with his back to the goal. As a pure number 9, you would expect Lukaku to be able to control the ball and hold on to it. However, he rarely got to do that, as you can see in these videos. As you can see, Lukaku's first touch can be horrible, and during his time in England, he was quite the butt of many jokes in that regard. These poor touches are a serious concern, and you've got to feel if Lukaku has improved his ability to keep things steady while being put under pressure by defenders. Such things will happen a lot in England, so let's hope that his training in Italy has improved this aspect of his game. The good things about Lukaku. Alright, now that we've highlighted Lukaku's weaknesses a bit, if we look at his strengths, the Belgian is likely going to be a success in England and will offer Chelsea more directness up front that they've been lacking for several years. Chelsea's counter-attacking shape. Now, Lukaku is a really good player to have in your team when you're attacking on the break. Chelsea tend to patiently build from the back, and then they have the perfect midfielders to launch counter-attacking moves at breakneck speed. As you can see from these videos, Chelsea have a more diversified approach towards counter-attacking, from building from the flanks to setting offensive players free from the middle of the park. Chelsea can be a devastating attacking unit with Lukaku as part of their crew. As you can see from these videos, such directness in counter-attacking moves is what makes Chelsea an entertaining side to watch. Dribbling. Now, when it comes to dribbling, you'll be surprised to know that Lukaku manages to average roughly 3 dribbles every game, which is quite a decent number for someone of his profile. However, allow us to break the myth through these videos. As you can notice, Lukaku is not a dribbler per se. What he does is use his body to literally muscle his way through difficulties and then beat his opponents for pace. Those traits did seem to work in his favour during his time in the Serie A, but do you think that Lukaku will be given so much freedom by top sides in England? Born to finish. At the end of the day, Lukaku is someone who's supposed to score goals. While he did reach double digits in each of his last 2 seasons in the Premier League, his overall performances weren't enough. Then again, you have to argue that Lukaku did not have a lot of support up front either. At Inter, he could rely on the likes of Lautaro Martinez and others to continue supplying him with the right balls. Lukaku is definitely going to get a lot of creative support from the likes of Mason Mount, Kai Havertz and Jorginho, but will he be able to make full use of it? As you can see, Lukaku has the ability to be at the right place at the right time. At Chelsea, his off-the-ball movement would come in really handy. Not only that, his ability to steamroll past his opponents is something that will help Chelsea win crucial points against teams that defend in numbers and prefer to sit back and soak up pressure. Lukaku is also a very adept spot kick taker, but we believe that Jorginho is going to continue to take those responsibilities. But then again, Lukaku's ability to finish off attacking moves and create space down the right flank is going to free up the likes of Havertz and Mason Mount to move into attacking zones. This ability is what makes Lukaku potentially one of the signings of the summer. If he's able to improve upon some of the shortcomings in his game, as we discussed earlier, Chelsea have got themselves a striker who can easily give them 20 to 25 goals next season, which would prove to be crucial as Tuchel looks to win the Premier League title in his first full season as Chelsea manager. A return to the Premier League also highlights the fact that Lukaku wants to prove his doubters wrong. It was widely believed that Lukaku was more of a flat-track bully in England, showing up only for games where the level of opposition wasn't that great. But maybe that will all change for him, now that he's playing for a Chelsea side that's brimming with confidence and has some of the most exciting attacking players in England.